through the day here at Fox. All right. I want to move on to this. Closing arguments in the Michael Jackson trial. Less than an hour away now. The judge making a key decision. He will let the jury consider convicting the pop star of a lesser offense, simply providing alcohol to a minor. Joining us now to talk about the last moments of the trial and what will happen when the jury starts deliberations, criminal defense attorney Ivan Gold and former federal prosecutor Michael Wild. Ivan, let me go to you first, and I'm going to guess you're in Santa Maria. It sounds like the crowd is getting anxious, I guess, for Michael Jackson's arrival.
There's a lot of energy out here right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, so let me get your take, Ivan, on the judge's instruction to the jury. Does it help Jackson at all?
You know, it cuts both ways. Does it help Michael Jackson? Well, I think he's going to be convicted of that misdemeanor. I've said that from the beginning. He'll be acquitted of all charges except for perhaps that misdemeanor. I call it a 50-50 chance that he gets convicted of that. Does it help him? It cuts both ways. I think it does help the prosecution. It gives them something. Regardless, Michael Jackson will not be incarcerated, even if convicted of that misdemeanor.
All right, you sound pretty sure about that. Michael Wilds, what I should also point out, I introduced you as a former federal prosecutor, current mayor of Englewood, New Jersey. What do you think? I mean, a lot of people had said, a lot of legal analysts that we've talked to had said that that whole conspiracy charge was probably the weakest part of the case. What do you think?
I think ultimately that the credibility of the witnesses, the extensive and very effective cross-examination will play a large role on the outcome of this case. As a father and a former prosecutor, I have to tell you I'm glad that a case was brought against somebody who allegedly shares a bed with young boys that aren't his own children. But I'm concerned ultimately that he gets a fair bite at the apple, due process, and that the question here, I think, ultimately is, will they prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? And the credibility of the witnesses really plays a significant role here.
Are you talking about any witnesses in particular?
Well, I think ultimately the discrepancies for the young brother, the mother of the victim and her behavior, and a lot of what has come forward leaves often a huge hole in the case. And the prosecution here has to combat that.
Right. Let me go back to Ivan. As a defense attorney, how do you think the defense did in terms of portraying the accuser and the family as gold diggers?
They did just fine, and it wasn't that difficult to do. This mother coached her children to lie in a previous lawsuit against JCPenney in a deposition. This mother tried to extort celebrities on behalf of her child who had cancer at the time. And this mother is she's an absolute gold digger. That's what she is.
But this case isn't about her money.
Ivan, finish your thought, and then we'll get to you, Michael.
This is one very important point. I've talked to a lot of people in Santa Maria. They are furious at Tom Sneddon. They are furious at this DA's office. This jury is a reflection of this community. This community and this jury will denounce Tom Sneddon with a not guilty verdict, maybe guilty on the misdemeanors. That's the most of it.
Michael, go ahead.
I don't think that this case is about his unusual behavior, his celebrity status, or his talent. This case has to be sustained ultimately based on whether or not a crime was in fact committed, and against this young boy. So ultimately, I am glad that it is in the court. He's had the benefit of very sophisticated attorneys who have done a very effective job on cross-examination. But this, again, needs to be seen through, again, for the children who are most vulnerable of our society.
Right. Ivan, even if the defense was able to portray the family as maybe not being the most normal family, but these accusations, could they have been made up? I mean, if they were looking for money, wouldn't they have just settled?
This is the point. This is the point. You have welfare fraud. You have previous extortion. This mother will do anything for money. This is just another ploy. There is so much reasonable doubt in this case, it's not even funny. Of course it could have happened.
What about the damage control? What about
It's a terrible thing. But
we need to wrap it up here. We need to wrap it up here. We're going to have more on this. We're up against a commercial break. Ivan Gold, Michael Wilds, thank you both very much. More on the Jackson trial ahead. Her name is Natalie. She went to Aruba to celebrate graduation with her classmates, but they had to go back to the States without her. Did she take off on her own, or did something else happen? The FBI is looking into this. Also, the runaway bride taking a break from therapy today to clear up her legal mess. You'll hear more of her court comments happened just this morning in her own words coming up. Also, geologists will be checking the scene. There you're looking at it live of a devastating landslide in the west. They need to decide who can go back home and who can't and why it all happened. Keep it right here. You're watching Fox. Also, we'll be talking to a judge who sends some of the criminals in his court to church.